Hi, this is Rick Savitsky from Chortek. In this video, I'm going to be discussing some of the data conversion matters that relate to adding QBO to work in conjunction with JobBoss2. And I'll warn you, it gets a little technical, and it's hard to kind of condense this into a very short, simple explanation. But I'm sharing it because we haven't found this anywhere else on the internet, and I hope you're going to find it useful. But first, why bother? Well, when you add QBO with JobBoss2, you get a major improvement overall in the ability to do financial reporting, analysis, and really managing the company. And the key is you're using the two side by side. It works really well. There's a lot of other tools that I've shared in other videos. It's also a lot easier to outsource pieces of your daily, weekly, monthly accounting to a firm like Chortek. It's what we do. And for customers, it's a lot easier when QBO is the system that you're using for your accounting system. So that's kind of the why. Now, I'm going to share a screen in a second to show that there is the ability to import into QBO natively. However, you can't import everything, and so you're probably going to need another tool. So let me share a screen here. So in QBO, you can bring in master information, master data, customers, vendors, the chart, and so on. You can even bring in customer invoices, but unfortunately we can't bring vendor invoices or maybe other details. And so at the very bottom it says, hey, try this app. This is a tool, it's got a funny name called Sasant. We've had really good success with this as well, and that's what we use for all our conversions when we're converting JobBoss2 data into QBO. So you can get most of it done without that tool, but it is, we found it necessary to use the other one, and it also has sped up the process for us as well. So let me share a few details. Customer IDs and vendor IDs can be the same in JobBoss2, but they can't in QBO. So you need to basically export the customer list, vendor list report to Excel from JobBoss2, combine those, do a pivot table, and make sure there aren't any IDs that are being used twice. You find them, correct one of them in JobBoss2, which means the next time you do the export, they will be unique. That's the short version. Additionally, you can only have one contact or an address per customer or vendor in QBO. You can have multiple in JobBoss2. So you need to pick one when you do the export of which one do you really want visible and in QBO. So it's a decision to make. Finally, if you have notes, when you export out of JobBoss, you'll notice those notes can come along at the customer information as well. They might be in more than one field, so look for that and use Excel to concatenate into a single field those notes so that they get over to QBO also. Pretty easy to do, you just got to remember to do it. Now this gets a little trickier. You have open customer invoices, customers that owe you money, and open vendor bills that you owe to your vendors as of whenever you do the conversion. Before you convert, you need to set up an item in QBO that's going to represent the converted balance. And the step 2 here is to set its GL account to a new account, one that doesn't exist in JobBoss2. And that's going to be the converted balance. And we typically use, like I wrote, converted OpenAR or OpenAP. That's going to be the accumulation of the single line item for each invoice. And whether you're importing 10, 20, 1,000, 2,000 invoices, the end result is it's all going to add up to one big number, which of course needs to match the report out of JobBoss2. And the balance is going to go to this temporary account. And after you know everything's come over cleanly and matches, after that's done, and after you bring over the final GL balances, which I'll discuss in a second, you're going to do an offsetting entry to credit or debit the account in number 2 to get it back down to 0. And the offset, the other side of that entry, is going to be what you're using on your import. And so with that, talking about the GL import, I'm going to jump to this last item first. You can't do a journal entry in QBO directly to the main accounts receivable account. QuickBooks won't let you do it. You need to import a detailed transaction. not a journal entry. So how do you convert your open AP and your open AR balances, which are part of your historical trial balances out of JobBoss2? Those need to go to a separate, really a temporary conversion-only account, okay, separate from the one I referenced in the prior screen. That is the real converted balance of AR as of last month, prior month, and whether you go back 60 months or 3 months, same idea. That's the converted balance. It's not the same as the main AR balance account in QBO. So because of that, that's why you have that last offsetting entry after the conversion is done to clear the balance against these, in essence, converted balance accounts, so that at the end of the day, you have true AR with the detail, but you also have for prior months your converted AR balances. And when you do a comparative financial, you will in fact have 2 AR accounts, but eventually that'll pass as you move forward into the future. But that's how you get the balances in the first place to be able to do the comparative financials. So feel free to reach out if you need help on that. It's admittedly a little complicated, but that's how you accomplish the objective. It makes a lot more sense to bring in at least 2-3 years worth of data. And if you can bring in 2 or 3 months, you can bring in 36 months. That's the reality of data conversion. The effort really goes into making sure the mapping is right. So speaking of the mapping, step 1, account names need to be unique. General ledger account names have to be unique in QBO as you do your conversion, and yet in JobBoss2 they can be duplicate. So be aware of that. It's going to make your conversion a lot easier to map old account versus new account using lookup commands in Excel, and to do that using unique account names. So please do and verify that. You might need to do a little bit of changing of account names in JobBoss2. It makes it much, much cleaner. And maybe the same thing, you may want to update the general ledger account numbers to kind of do a cleanup if you've been putting that off. Do that first in JobBoss2 before you bring it over into QBO. That's my advice. Don't try to do it in the conversion itself. It gets really unnecessarily complicated. You might want to save it and do renumbering in QBO afterwards. It's your prerogative, but my advice is to get it done, do it once in JobBoss2, and then have a clean conversion. So that's a summary of the issues for converting the GL data. I hope this is helpful. We have other videos on other topics, and we're here to help. We work with other manufacturers that use these 2 systems together, and we think it's a great match to work with those 2 systems in conjunction. And we do a lot of assistance with other customers, helping them focus on what they do best. We work with you on the accounting side, and you can focus on maximizing profits and helping your customers with excellent service. Look forward to hearing from you. Thanks. Bye.